Before I do this, if you never hear from me again, it's because of this little stunt I'm about to do. There are multiple fail safes. I've got the key. There's the button in here. Just found footage, Blair Witch Project style stuff. This is dumb. This is very dumb. This is very dumb. Don't do this. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Shock. I'm Corey, and this is a new trim of the popular Ford F-150 Lightning, the all-electric pickup truck from Ford. Say hello to Flash. Yes, Lightning, Flash. They're really leaning into it here on this one. And in this video, I will show you some very unique choices and decisions that were made that set this Flash apart from other trims we've previously tested here on the channel. Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, the first thing I want to do is say a huge thank you to Ford for supplying us with their very popular all-electric pickup truck. And yes, because it's all electric, you don't need a gasoline engine. Underneath the hood here does allow for a massive front trunk, so much so that I could fit in it. Very much do like this front trunk storage. I did not realize how handy it would be having a trunk in a truck until I've lived with Lightnings for a while. Every time we get a new Lightning, I'm always reminding myself, oh yeah, we've got the trunk up front. We were throwing birthday presents and all kinds of stuff up here. Lockable, safe, secure, weather-tight storage right here underneath the hood. It's a big win. Not only that, we put our groceries up in here. You can see I've got my backpack here now. We've got a lot of hooks in here for hanging grocery bags, but there's this removable panel right here with an even deeper well down below. And you can make into an ice chest because, well, yeah, there's a drain in the bottom. Then you've got this removable panel that you can even set up as a partition between the front and the back. So many useful combinations and ways that you can use this mega power frunk, as they call it. There's even the Pro Power on board here. So we've got 4 110 plugs underneath the hood here and a USB-A and USB-C plug. So you can tailgate from the front of your truck or the back of your truck, which we'll get to here in a moment. In fact, there's even more to talk about here. Ford claims 2 golf bags can fit in here. I've not tried it. I've only got my set, and let's face it, it's been nearly a decade since I've brought those out to use them. We have tie downs in here. You can put all kinds of stuff up here. In fact, the first model we had was the Platinum trim, and we actually did have a cargo net in here, kept it cooler. It was a big win. We do have lighting up underneath here with a button to control the lights here, so you can even work in here. This could be your workbench at night, and this panel can hold up to 400 pounds. All of that, very awesome. And when you're done, you can bring that hood down. And yes, while this may resemble very much the gas-powered versions of the truck, it's not. And a lot of work actually had to go into making this all work, as you see it here, because this grill didn't just happen. In fact, on the gas pickup truck, the grill stays in place. So that was hurdle number 1, is how do you get in and out? Competitors like Rivian, they don't have this lifting front portion, but they've got a very deep well. So that makes this infinitely more usable, and I like it a lot. You do get this LED light bar across the front with this Flash trim, which is just one step above the base XLT trim. Now only 4 trims in the lineup. Get all of our LED lighting and everything up here. It is a very clean, very handsome look that at first glance looks just like the gas pickup truck, but yeah, the LED light bar really kind of gives it away. It's the EV thing. You might be able to hear it, but it is actually kind of noisy right now. I can actually feel it right now. I've actually got the truck on and the air conditioning going because, well, it's warming up here in Texas, and I need the inside cool for later when we're driving. But yeah, air is being forced in to keep those batteries cool and help keep the cabin cool. Otherwise, this is a very, very awesome pickup truck that is very useful, as most Texans will use it. I have joked on the channel for a very long time that pickup trucks are the family vehicle of Texas. They are literally everywhere here, and most people don't need a pickup truck. They just want one and use it as their family vehicle. We'll talk more about that when we get inside, but that frunk, Mega Power frunk, is definitely a game-changing feature. Now, since I normally talk horsepower, torque, and power when the hood is up, well, it's more than one Corey power underneath that hood, and it's really underneath the vehicle itself, because this employs Ford's dual motor all-wheel drive system. This has the extended range battery for an EPA estimated up to 320 miles of range, 580 horsepower, 775 pound-feet of torque, to all four wheels. All of that is available instantaneously. But yes, this is a very handsome truck from the style. I intentionally did not wash this because I wanted to show you how this iconic silver really holds up over time. It is springtime in East Texas, and you can kind of see on the hood there the amount of yellow, but just at a quick glance, you really can't tell that this thing is covered in pollen, nor that the front is absolutely demolished by bugs, because we have put almost 800 miles on this road tripping it across Texas. And I do want to talk a little bit more about our experience with it over the week when I'm behind the wheel. As we come to the wheels and tires on this, the Flash with the extended range battery does get these up-level 20-inch wheels, very much like the Lariat we had most recently. These are 275/60 R20s wrapped in Goodyear Wrangler Territory tires, Territory MT tires. We'll talk more about how they hold up long-term and how they have been when I am driving it. Then we get that new F-150 Flash badge there on the front fender. That does echo again on the driver's side where the charge port door is. I like how it is echoed or outlined in blue. That really sets it off against this iconic silver. Otherwise, from the profile, without that lightning badge on the bed, without the revised lighting signature on the side from the front and the rear, you'd be hard-pressed to tell that this is not a gas pickup truck, because it really does share a lot of components, most of its components, with the best-selling pickup truck in Texas. So that is a big win for Ford. What they did is they just took out all the gas components and shoved in the batteries in between the frame rails, reworked that front trunk area, and really did make this work. I would say the biggest advantage that the Lightning has over practically all of its competition is it really does feel just like the gas truck. Inside, outside, it feels the most normal of all the EV trucks, followed closely perhaps by Chevrolet and GMC's offering with their new EVs. I did mention, as we were talking about being able to tell this was a Lightning or an EV, that Lightning badge, it really is the biggest telltale sign if it weren't for all of the lighting. I'm not going to crawl underneath the vehicle, but I will say that this has a unique feature to the suspension in that it has an independent rear suspension. We'll talk about how that rides in a little bit, but yes, you can kind of see it from this angle right here. The motor back on the back axle and the independent rear suspension. As we come to the rear, this has a different tailgate than the previous two trims we've tested. We've tested the Lariat and the Platinum models. This being the Flash, which slots in underneath both of those, gets a more traditional tailgate. We don't get the lighting signature, the light bar that connects the taillights across the back. We don't get the kind of raised section in the tailgate that covers the reverse lights that you can actually see right now. I actually prefer this a whole lot better. I like this trim better than the Lariat or the Platinum trims because, again, it just looks more like the gas truck. And it's a little more simplistic. When I first got this, I was like, oh, Ford redesigned the tailgate to save costs and save money, because that was really the name of the game for the 2024 updates, is the simplified configurations and trims, but not here on the Lightning. This tailgate is just the lower tailgate, though I think I like it better than the upscale tailgate. That is not to say that it isn't without some cool party tricks. So it is a power up down tailgate that does raise and lower all on its own. You can do that from the key fob, you can do that from the button inside, or you can hit the button I did just hit right there. When it lowers down, you can see we've got this plastic panel here with all these increments for measuring fish, because that's really the only thing you're going to want to measure with these very large tick marks. You've got places to put pencils or anything that you may be working on. But again, I really said that's a fisherman's panel, not a workman's panel. That you're not going to be doing woodwork back here, though you could, because they do have these two places in the top of the tailgate for you to put a clamp if you need to. Just don't measure it there. And then to get into the bed of the truck, we do have the step hidden within the tailgate, which, as I'm approaching 40, I will say I have used this step more times than I care to admit. As we do climb up into the bed of this one, this particular one does not have the spray in bed liner, and I am just going to say you might want to opt for that. I have seen too many F-150s with their aluminum beds punctured from something dropping in them just too harshly, that I would say get the spray in bed liner. It is worth the investment. But we do have some tie down points throughout back here, which is very nice. And we do have our LED lighting in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and climb down, but I wanted to show you the Pro Power on board. So we have the power up front under the hood. We have power back here in the back. So we have 4 110 plugs here. You can see they're 120, 20 amp, 2.4 watt max. Back here, you've got 4 of those, and then we have a 240 30 amp 7.2 kilowatt max plug right there. So in theory, you could plug another EV back here and charge it if you needed to. And then again, the lighting button and control for all the LED lights back here, which is a very nice touch if you're going to be using the back of your bed at night. Before we climb in the truck, there are a few more things I want to talk about out here, most notably right here, the Ford F-150 flash badge, or actually what lies behind it, because that is our charge port door. Now, Ford has committed to switch over to the NACS plug, but they have not done that here on what is, in our experience, a 2024 model, though nothing has changed for 2025. The mild updates really came in the 24 model year with the addition of this flash model, but you can see we have our J1772/CCS plug right here. Ford does supply all buyers of their F-150 Lightnings with a NACS adapter, which we did test out. And we'll talk about that when I actually show it to you inside the truck when we get inside there. But yes, all that is underneath that charge port door, which is handily located right there at the front of the pickup truck. Otherwise, again, this really does look like a normal F-150. It even gets a normal F-150 key. Nothing really spectacular here other than what the buttons do. So we have unlock, lock, your frunk, your tailgate, and an emergency panic button. We can deploy a physical key from this key if we have to, but you don't need to. It is a proximity key with passive entry, as I will show you as we come up to it. We also have the Ford keypad if you want to. We also are supplied, Ford is the only brand that does this, with controls via the app. So I can remote start this via the app, which is not something I can normally do on press vehicles, but you can unlock it by grabbing the door handle. You can lock it by pressing right there. You can see that locks the doors, and grabbing the door handle unlocks it. Unfortunately, that is not on all 4 doors, just the front 2. But when we open the doors, I very much feel like this is a Lariat interior with a few things missing, most notably the 3-person memory seats of the Lariat we tested last. But I do feel like some of the materials and textures in here very much remind me of the Lariat, from this fake wood here to this material here on the door. It's very nicely appointed. It feels very nice and very luxurious sitting in here. And then you can see multi-tier storage, which has worked very well for us. I jokingly say we moved into this one because, well, we really did. We have put over 800 miles on it, taking it down to Houston and back. You can see, taking a look at the seats, we have multi-way power seats with two-way lumbar, though they are clad in cloth. It is a nice gray cloth. This is the only color cloth interior available on the Flash. It's the only interior available on the Flash. You can see we get multiple tones of gray. They're nice, they're very comfortable. I think they will wear very well over time as a work truck or just a comfortable family vehicle, which is what this has proven to be for us. One other thing I want to call out before I climb in, Ford still does, not many other brands do, adjustable pedals, so you can actually move where the pedals are. This is something we saw on the other trims that would be tied into memory settings if we had them, but this particular vehicle does not. You can also see we have a manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. It is the typical F-150 interior with the lightning screen on the inside. Other pickup trucks get the widescreen, but the Lightning gets the tall screen. I did joke earlier that it's warm in East Texas. We'll go ahead and start the vehicle up, and you can see all the graphics and animations that come to life here. You can see 812.9 miles, and we're averaging 2 miles per kilowatt. If that is something that you are curious about, I will say on our road trip, we saw as low as 1.3 miles per kilowatt doing Texas highway speeds, which will factor into the overall range. You can see we're at 94% charge with 249 miles of range. 100% does not math out to the 320 that Ford and the EPA claim this can get. That really is going to be using it primarily as an in-town grocery getter because lower speed stop and go traffic really is where this thing excels at getting the best of all of its range. You can see over my left knee here we have your tailgate control, your front trunk control, your lighting control, your brightness, your lights in your bed, your lights on your mirrors, lighting, all above your electronic parking brake and your adjustable pedals. I really do like this leather wrapped steering wheel. It is heated and it can get quite warm. All your necessary controls are here on the front. No controls on the back like their competitors. It's all laid out for you. So there's no guessing or trying to remember which side does what. It's all right here for you. Full digital gauge cluster. That is true of all 24 and up F-150s across the board. I did joke that they simplified the lineup when it came to the gas models. That is one of the things that they simplified. No head-up display, no rear view camera mirror, but we do have this large screen here. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I will have to show you later because I am filming on my phone. We have Sirius XM built in, we've got navigation built in. All of our HVAC controls are also built into the screen here. And you can see as I hit the button there, the volume knob now turns into my temperature control knob. Same with fan speed. I can adjust fan speed based on this knob here, or I can keep hitting it and just go through it like that. But multiple different ways to interface with the screen here. We have heated front seats, heated steering wheel, but no ventilated seats as they are cloth. A few physical buttons down here, a few quick access shortcut buttons up here, including all my vehicle controls. We'll get into that as we test out sport mode here in a little bit. All of our apps that are built in. We even have some entertainment apps so that you can entertain yourself while you are charging. We'll talk more about that later. And then a quick access button for your cameras. Lots of camera views in this one, though I don't feel like Ford is utilizing this tall display to the best of its ability, because I do believe, we'll go ahead and shine a light right here on the camera for the bed. I feel like as I'm driving, I will say, this is the only camera you can leave on while you're driving. The lawyers outlawed using any of the other cameras, but all of this stays down here. I feel like this is wasted space. We could move some controls up here into this camera screen area, and this could be a modified version of CarPlay. I just feel like this is a waste of overall screen real estate, just something I noticed from my time with it. But otherwise, very good 360 cameras. We've got different camera views all the way around. You can see your trailer hitch, you can see behind you, in front of you, whatever you need to see. Then we'll go ahead and throw that bird's eye in there as well. Very nice, very handy. Coming over here, we do have some additional power to power your devices while on the go. We have some storage up here. We've got some storage right there. And we've got another nifty feature. We've got an electric actuator to put the vehicle in drive. This really isn't necessary at all, and you can fold it out of the way so that you can have your workspace right here. I really wish Ford gave us a column-mounted gear selector instead of this center console-mounted one, because this needs to be up when driving, and as a lefty, I could very much see myself utilizing this work desk as a desk from the passenger seat while it's in motion if this weren't the case. So just some things I've noticed. Underneath this panel right here, we have USB-A and USB-C and Qi wireless charging. We've got some cup holders here. We've got a nice phone slot. I've kept my phone just sitting there a lot. This, when the gear selector thing is not resting in it, proves to be some nice storage. We get storage over here. We get same storage over here. We get a very large center console, though because this is a 2-level system that you can open up to be a desk, it needs better hinges because I feel like it's always falling down. If you open it too quickly, it like bounces back down. If you're sitting still, it will stay up on its own, but I just feel like tougher hinges would be very welcome here. We have this movable tray here that does have a rubberized mat, some slots for coins, but this is what I wanted to show you. Ford's gift to us, that is the NACS to CCS adapter that did allow us to charge at a Tesla charging station on 2 separate occasions. So this plugs into the truck, the NACS plugs into here, and you do have to release it with that. But it did allow us to charge at a Buc-ee's Tesla charging station on 2 separate occasions. Unfortunately, because the Tesla charge stations were originally designed just for Tesla, the charge cords are still too short at most Tesla charging stations across the nation. So I had to take up 2 parking spots and 2 chargers to charge my 1 pickup truck. That was unfortunate, though the first time we were there, we were able to snag the very last spot, so we were really only wasting 1 charger and 1 parking spot. I did have to fend off several Tesla drivers trying to back into the spots as I was waiting for Holly to meet me at the saved charging spot, just because there were so many there. I was walking it back and forth on foot trying to talk to people. Slight downsides, but both Tesla and Ford are working on that. Tesla is adding additional length to their charge cords and will eventually give us a native NACS plug on the side of the F-150. Otherwise, like I said, this is very much a typical F-150 in here. If you're used to the gas truck, you'll really be used to this. You may have noticed we've got some lights flickering at us. We've got cameras over there and over there. That is for BlueCruise, something we will talk about here in just a moment. Swinging around to me, I've got plenty of headroom. We don't have any glass roof or anything in this one, keeping it fairly simple, but plenty of headroom in here. Plenty of room in general, which I guess is a nice transition to talking about the back seat and why so many of these are used as family vehicles here in Texas. I already told you we do not have the proximity key passive entry back here in the back, but other than that, it is a very nice back seat here in the Ford F-150 Lightning. The Flash model, again, gets all the same materials and designs from the front doors. We get cup holders built into the doors. Get a little bit of plastic movement noise as we talk about build quality here, but I do like multi-tiered storage even back here in the back. So if Tucker were older and out of his child safety seat, I'm sure he would have tons of stuff just everywhere in this one. As we pan around to the seats, same seat design that we saw up front. Very nice, very wide 3 across seating back here. You can absolutely sit 3 car seats, 3 adults, three of anything back here because it is very nice and roomy. I will go ahead and say to get underneath it, it is a little bit of a 2-handed process, but there, you pull that strap and you can lift the seat bottom up. And it locks into place. You have to pull that strap again to drop it down, but you can see we've got some compartmentalized storage underneath here, but then a massively flat load floor otherwise. So if you needed to use this just as covered locked workspace or storage space, you absolutely could. I like his 60-40 split, allowing us to keep Tucker's child seat where we normally keep it and still have access to a majority of the space underneath the seat. No center armrest cup holder here, but again, you do have them here on the doors and on the back of the center console. We have this handle to climb up and use the stationary running boards in this one. And then you can see sitting behind myself, just tons of room. I mean, it is an embarrassment of a space back here. I am very comfortable, and this is exactly why so many pickup trucks are sold here in Texas. They are just so roomy and so comfortable for adults in the second row. I dare you to find me another roomy vehicle that isn't a full-size truck or truck-based SUV. They just don't exist. These are massive, unless you're talking about like a big executive sedan like a Genesis G90 or a Mercedes S-Class. And then again, cup holders back here, air vents on the back of the center console. We do have some additional power there and some additional power down here, which is nice. USB-C and 3-prong plugs, the like, all the way around. If you want to see what it's like installing Tucker's child safety seat, there are some little tips and tricks that I've learned. Be sure and hit that subscribe button down below so that you can see me install his child safety seat from a point of view perspective of me. But coming back here to me, plenty of headroom, no complaints back here. This thing is just massively roomy, massively comfortable, which is a nice segue into, let's actually drive this. Believe me, it is not for 1 second lost on me, the style and meaning of my hat, the fact that I'm in a fully electric vehicle, but I did want to go ahead and show you how CarPlay looks and works on the screen. You can see it fills up a large portion of the screen. Then I have all these quick access shortcuts down below of things I've recently looked at, been through, but you can see here I can go back to my main screen. It all works very quickly and I can cycle through them back and forth very nicely. And yes, that very much alludes to the next video featuring this F-150 Lightning, but we're going to go ahead and set off, put this thing in motion, because I want to talk a little bit about its capability as a performance vehicle, because, well, it can be. There is a sport mode, there's a tow haul mode, there's an off-road mode, there's one pedal drive, there's a locking diff, so to speak. There's all kinds of fun stuff in this that is available to you, but I'm going to put it in sport mode. We're going to come here to a nice straight stretch of road, come to a complete stop, and do a 0 to 60 test thanks to our friends at Racebox. I'm going to stand on the brake with my left foot, stand on the accelerator with my right, and lift off, and off we go. We get some wheel slippage from those tires, but this thing is moving. Woo! It was so quick that it didn't even show me the 0 to 30 time. I looked over there. I thought it was the 0 to 30 time, but no, it was the 0 to 60 time. 0 to 30 in 1.73, 0 to 60 in 3.97 seconds, which is right up there with the Raptor R performance vehicle from Ford with its flat plane crank V8 that you know I love so much. But the great thing about the electric powertrain in this, instantaneous torque, and it can adjust and adapt. I had that wheel slippage. I do have all-wheel drive, but it's very easily adjusting and very quickly adjusting to the demands of the vehicle, to the traction situation around me, making this an insanely quick full-size pickup truck. Trucks should not be this fast, but it is great that this one is, because as a family vehicle, as a road trip vehicle, there have been some times where it's really nice just to be able to get in and go, whether that's whipping around a slow vehicle on a 2-lane road and they're just going way too slow and I want to pass very quickly, or say a light turned and you're kind of in that weird no man's zone of, do you slam on the brakes and throw everyone forward, or do you just go for it and go through it? There are multiple different reasons why, in practicality, having this amount of power, this amount of acceleration really works in a vehicle like this. Again, my whole premise is this is a great family vehicle, and that's why so many families pick full-size pickup trucks here in Texas. And let's talk about who this truck is for, because, I mean, it does ride very well. It is the only F-150 with an independent rear suspension. The added weight down below me also helps with the ride, to the point where I have wondered and lamented several times on past videos why Ford hasn't spread the cost to their more premium Lincoln brand and given us an electric Lincoln Navigator based on this same principle. Are they wanting more range? Is there just too much R&D to pass this off to another division? What's the difference? Why haven't we gotten a Lincoln version? Because I think this is a really good package that would translate very well to the premium Lincoln brand. And yes, I know they just updated the Navigator for 2025. With Cadillac now introducing an all-electric Cadillac Escalade IQ with its skateboard Ultium platform, Lincoln's gonna need to do something, because that thing is quite impressive by the numbers, though I'm still waiting to actually get in and drive one. Other thoughts of who this pickup truck is for? Well, if you tow heavy and you tow long distances regularly, this probably isn't for you. You can tow heavy for short distances, you can tow light for long distances, but the logistics of towing with an EV, you are still dragging dead weight back behind you. Towing is an unsurmountable obstacle when it comes to towing with an EV under everything that we have currently, our charging infrastructure and the like. Towing is a big limiting factor of EV pickup trucks. But if you're towing small watercraft to the lake and back, this might be for you. If you are truly using it, as I have said multiple times in this video, as a large family vehicle that occasionally can do truck things, whether it's load a bunch of bicycles in the bed or load a bunch of stuff from the nursery for a weekend yard project, this is absolutely for you. The payload in the back of this Lightning is by no means compromised versus other full-size pickup trucks. It is still quite capable, and adding a lot of weight does not diminish the range nearly as much as adding a trailer onto the back. Again, trailer is just dead weight that is catching wind and making it nearly impossible to be efficient while you're driving. Otherwise, this is a very good, very comfortable family vehicle. We have taken this to Houston and back, a feat that I once thought was not possible in this pickup truck, any Ford EV for that matter, because our first taste of Ford EVs was going to Amarillo and back in a Mach-E, and that 7-hour trip actually took 14. And I was not looking to do that again with my entire family going to Houston for that 3.5–4 hour trip and back. I didn't want to know what that was going to be drug out into. Suffice it to say, now that we have that NACS adapter that we can plug into Tesla charging network, the fact that this can actually talk to the Tesla chargers really does change the game a lot. Full disclosure, Ford themselves did pay for our charging when we were at the Tesla chargers, but we did go to a few other stops on our journey that we paid for ourselves. Just thought I'd put that out there and let you know, yes, Ford did reimburse us for our driving in this one, unlike what they would do in perhaps a gas vehicle. We only get one full tank of gas when we get gas vehicles on loan from these brands. But yes, Ford did help us and help us show you what this is like road tripping in an EV in 2025 throughout the state of Texas. Now, when it comes to the overall driving behavior of this one, again, it does ride like a big heavy truck because it is a big heavy truck, but with the independent suspension and the added weight of the battery pack in between the frame rails down below me, it does ride a whole lot smoother, a la me wanting it to be a Lincoln product. So yes, rides very well, very good visibility, soaks up bumps. It really, at $67,000, I would want perhaps that actual 320 miles of range, if not more, like the over 400 that Chevy claims with their Silverado EV and GMC claim with their Sierra EV. But that really is the only major shortcoming of this vehicle. In all reality, we saw 1.3 to 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour at Texas highway speeds. So we just need a little bit bigger battery, which Chevy and GMC absolutely give you. As we are nearing the end of the curvy bit, we're gonna do another 0 to 60 run here on this last straight bit of road. I'm gonna do it like you would typically do it, normal mode. I'm gonna go from the brake to the accelerator, and we're gonna see exactly what it's capable of. Ready, set, here we go. My goodness, it really just throws you into the seat and you are off 4.07. So not even really a 1/10 of a second slower, being out of sport mode and not brake torquing it, if you can even call it that. Very impressive acceleration numbers, though it does throw all that mass backwards, making the steering just a little loosey-goosey and a little hairy under hard acceleration. Now we're going to see some practical firsthand why you would need such quick acceleration in a vehicle such as this. Again, the premise being this is a great family vehicle. I'm behind a minivan right now. I'm going to give myself a little bit of room, but we are about to merge onto the interstate. Perfect example of when some extra power would come in handy, especially not having to put it in sport mode or do anything like that. You just get in it and go. All that torque is available to you as quickly as you push the pedal down. And yeah, I'm already doing highway speeds before I'm ever even on the highway. Just a perfect example of exactly why you'd love to have that extra power in these certain circumstances where it really comes in handy. Say you need to do an emergency maneuver as well. Also very much comes in handy. Another thing I wanted to show off while we're here on the interstate is BlueCruise, because I have gotten to use it in our time with it in our over 800 miles with this vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on cruise control, set it to the 75 miles per hour. That is currently the speed limit posted here in East Texas. I get the hands-free indicator on the steering wheel, and now I can let go. I've got cameras here and here watching my eyes to make sure I'm paying attention, and if I cover them up where it cannot see my eyes but I'm still paying attention to the road ahead of me, it'll start telling me watch the road, and yes, then I can watch the road. Unfortunately, BlueCruise is not the gold standard in my book. That still belongs to GM's Super Cruise, because it will do automatic lane changes. So if set at 75 miles per hour, I come up on slower traffic as I'm about to right here ahead of me, Super Cruise would survey my surroundings and turn on my blinker, move over, and avoid slower traffic. BlueCruise won't do that. It just becomes your standard adaptive cruise control, keeping a preset distance from the vehicle in front of me. One thing that BlueCruise does do that all Ford adaptive cruise control does do that I wish Super Cruise did and would just make Super Cruise truly next level is it uses the traffic sign recognition to set your speed. So if speed changes from 75 to 80 or down to 70, the vehicle is going to adjust accordingly as it comes across those signs, and you can preset some tolerances in the system over here. So if you like to do 2 over, 2 under, 5 over, 5 under, you can program all that, and BlueCruise, the adaptive cruise, will do that for you, which I really like. GM's, you're always constantly fiddling with the speed. Oh, the speed changed down, speed changed up, speed changed down. This hands-free when it comes to changing of speed limits, which I really like. If GM added that, BlueCruise would just be dead to me at that point, because the lane change thing would come in handy right now as I'm stuck behind a slow Jeep. All right, now that I have my hands free to talk, I do want to come back to the thought of who is this truck for? Again, if you tow heavy, you tow long distances, you tow heavy for long distances, this truck ain't for you. Get the gas version, get multiple different other versions of pickup trucks, just not this electric one. But if you tow light or tow for short distances or tow light for short distances, this one could be for you. If you use your truck occasionally as a truck, but more so as a very large family vehicle, and you aren't doing a lot of long distance traveling, this truck is absolutely for you. In fact, our time with it could have been made even better if I had planned just a little bit more, which I would have known if we owned this vehicle permanently. So I could absolutely recommend this to a lot of Texas families who think they need a truck, but don't really need a truck, that just occasionally want or need a truck and really just use their pickup truck as a family vehicle. This is cheaper per mile to drive. The maintenance on it will be cheaper because there are no oil changes. And if you brake properly, you are using mostly regenerative braking and barely using your brake pads. So even the brake cost on this is significantly reduced, even though we have a much heavy duty like vehicle in the overall weight class of this F-150. That about does it for me with this F-150 Lightning Flash. If you want to see more from us, including Holly's takes, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified when future videos drop from us. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, I'm going to BlueCruise my way on back home. Until next time, gearheads. Bye.